The Worldgen V2 blog post is out. Yay! Okay, so there's not as many hidden details I could find in this one, so I'm also going to try and explain why this system is so revolutionary and point out a few things I think could be improved further. Also, like and subscribe so I can climb out of subscriber debt and Hytale will accept my creator code application. First thing to note is that the new Worldgen system was started after the Riot acquisition, meaning it's another thing that actually was done well during the Riot era. This also means that it would have been entirely new to Simon, which is probably why he was so impressed by it. Another thing I think is important to note here is that the new Worldgen engine seems fully functional. The Orbis biomes just need to be remade in it still. I checked the wording and it actually seems pretty possible that this will be available to modders day one, just not integrated into Orbis yet. It's already going to be in small sections of the game too, as said in the blog, so I think it's pretty likely. The only reason I see them not allowing people to use it day one is because the UI is unfinished or it's missing some functionality, but I think it's more likely to be there than not. Some people might have already known this, but in my mind Worldgen V2 was just completely not gonna be there day one, except for some demos of it. Also, this skeleton's just chilling here. I don't think I need to tell you why the pattern scanning system is going to be amazing. I wonder how in-depth you can actually make the rule sets, because if you have enough control, you could make biomes that are basically just one big organically built structure by making the parts of it generate depending on what's already there and the terrain around it. Also, the various glowing plants all seem to have particles around them, so maybe they'll have some magical properties. These rapids are massive. I never really noticed until now. It was raining at the start of this clip, and you can see the cloud shadows disappear from the ground when the weather changes. You can see some exposed ore here. Pretty sure this is cobalt. It doesn't seem to be too rare either. I'm pretty sure it's Zone 3 exclusive, and I was honestly expecting it to be harder to get, although it may just be a mistake with the new Worldgen. I would break down how the node system works a bit more, but I'm honestly pretty confused by it. The names of the nodes aren't very descriptive, and it doesn't work like I expected. I'm sure it will make way more sense on release. And I'm also sure the comments section has already figured out exactly how it works. I like that you can group stuff though. Being able to regenerate a section of the terrain instantly is probably one of the biggest advantages of this system. Even if the system wasn't this fancy, having this alone puts it leagues above any other game which doesn't have something like this. You can also see the terrain is generating in cubic chunks, but I believe there's still a height limit, although I did stumble upon this post from Slikey in the wild that sounds like infinite world height is planned, as well as a bunch of other crazy stuff. Like, he's saying in a few years he thinks we'll be able to do full space exploration games with all this stuff. Also, I hope they basically give everything a rule set on how it spawns, so not only does where stuff spawn make sense and help with world building, an experienced player can just know tons of stuff about the environment by the mushrooms growing there or something. It adds a lot more skill to exploration. To make it easier to learn, there could also be in-universe documentation of some of the Worldgen rules, like a nature book that tells you about how the ash trees need to generate above caves because their roots need to breathe or whatever the reason is. I think something like that would allow for extra world building too, with different settlements having different documentation of the plants. And I'm not just talking about settlements only having documentation of plants they have access to. I'm also talking things about like only documenting the spawn conditions and properties of the plants that are relevant to them, if the plants are found in multiple zones. Like, if the same species of berries could be found in Zone 1 and 3, there could be information in only Zone 3 of how they can be used to make some drink that keeps out the cold, but it's barely mentioned in Zone 1 since Zone 1 isn't really cold. I could keep going with this idea, but it's not really a focus of the video, so I'm going to go back to the blog post now. I hope this puzzle piece biome system means the biome sizes will be pretty balanced. I also hope we can make our own changes to this system so people can make realistic biome placement that considers climate and altitude and whatever else real life considers when it's generating terrain. These experimental terrain types highlight one of the main reasons this system is so revolutionary. The variety is insane. I feel like custom biomes and dimensions in Minecraft all use the same kinds of terrain types, at least for the most part. There's the occasional variety, but copying the overworld nether or end is so much easier than creating a fully custom one. With Hytale, there's so much customizability that new Ultiverses from both the team and the community are going to look insane. The things the base game has are already insane. I can see why we're gonna need new mobility tools like the glider. I haven't really said it on this channel yet, but I think in its current state, Hytale's best feature is Worldgen and exploration. other than maybe the modding and server support. Although we haven't gotten the game yet, so it's a bit hard to tell. While you were looking at the oasis in this image, you might have missed these houses chilling on the top of these rocks. I mean, it's probably pretty safe up there from the wild creatures below, but whoever's living in there, probably the Farons, must be pretty good at scaling rocks to get in and out of that house. Also, I really hope we get this big tree thing in game, also this whale, and also these eye things. Also like and subscribe. Okay, bye.